baking soda. 1 box, under €1. I'm going to show you how to clean your entire home with it. Avafai, inawada firstachi, and shuf abdai idafai. Oven, bathroom tiles, drains, mattress, refrigerator, burnt pans, smelly carpets, stained grout, ada ai, gats, asil, dismal charte, South curtsies all of it. No specialty products. The separatem. No expensive sprays. No subscription to a cleaning service. And then I'm going to tell you why the cleaning industry has spent decades making sure you never figure this out. I am Keiko Nakamura. I'm 72 years old. I grew up in Osaka, Japan, in a house where baking soda sat next to the sink like a permanent fixture. My mother used it. My grandmother used it before her. Their homes were spotless. Their surfaces lasted. Their drains never smelled. Then I moved overseas. I walked into Western supermarkets and found entire aisles dedicated to cleaning products. A different spray for every surface, a different gel for every room, a different tablet for every appliance. I assumed this meant the products were better, more specialized, more effective. They are not. I know that now. But it took me 40 years and a return trip to Japan at 63 to remember what I already knew as a child. Let me start with what baking soda actually is, because understanding this changes everything. Sodium bicarbonate is a naturally occurring mineral compound. It's mined from the earth. It cannot be patented. No corporation owns it. No brand can lock it behind a proprietary formula. It has been used for cleaning, deodorizing, and household maintenance for thousands of years across dozens of cultures. That last fact is the problem for them noi kano dakas. For them, the global household cleaning products market is worth over €200 billion annually. That number exists because manufacturers have successfully convinced us that each cleaning problem requires a different purchased solution. Bathroom mold needs product A. Kitchen grease needs product B. Drain odor needs product C. Carpet stains need product D. Oven residue needs product E, which comes with a warning label and instructions to ventilate the room. What they don't tell you is that most of these problems respond to the same thing: a mild alkaline compound that costs almost nothing, has no toxic fumes, and has been working reliably since before any of these companies existed. Baking soda. That's it. That's the secret they've spent billions of advertising euros obscuring. Why it works, and why it works on almost everything. Baking soda is mildly alkaline, sitting at a pH of around 8.3. This makes it effective against acids and dastakchi tsabaoteiwai. Tansaskin chigatati chatash ichodas kakdan and frena and fernd anses densoiten, and in most of what makes our homes dirty is acidic. Grease, food residue, body oils, mold, odors, all acidic. Baking soda neutralizes them chemically, which is why it cleans without scrubbing violently and without leaving toxic residue. It also has a fine crystalline structure that works as a very gentle abrasive, strong enough to lift grime from surfaces without scratching them. This is why it can clean both a delicate ceramic sink and a burnt steel pan using the same basic approach, and it absorbs odors, not by masking them with fragrance the way commercial products do. Bakachadetanatis indadi iafursa way endet and gig at by ein geotentire and tray. By actually neutralizing the acidic compounds that create odor in the first place. This is a fundamental difference. Perfumed cleaning sprays make your bathroom smell like artificial lavender. Baking soda removes the actual source of the smell. My grandmother understood all of this intuitively without any of the chemistry language. She would say, "It takes away the bad and leaves nothing behind." That's as precise a description as any laboratory could produce. The kitchen, burnt pans, greasy ovens, smelly drains. Let's start where cleaning problems are worst. Burnt pan, cover the bottom with a thin layer of baking soda. Add just enough warm water to make a paste and leave it for 20 to 30 minutes. Then wipe. For serious burning, bring it to a simmer on the stove for 5 minutes. The residue lifts clean. No soaking overnight. Was too. No harsh chemicals. No scrubbing until your arms ache. I had a pan I thought was permanently damaged. Deep black crust, 3 layers of burnt-on oil from a period in my life when I was cooking badly and cleaning worse. My daughter suggested throwing it away. I used baking soda paste, simmered it, wiped it. The pan came back. I still use it. Oven. This is where commercial oven cleaners are at their most aggressive and most unnecessary. The standard products contain sodium hydroxide, which is caustic enough to require gloves and ventilation. Mix baking soda with just enough water to form a thick paste. Spread it across every interior surface of the oven, including the door. Leave it overnight. In the morning, wipe it out with a damp cloth. For stubborn spots, spray a little white vinegar. Anindatawa kukinini, tanibatfa, andatawa chinchai, wanidatai. The reaction between the baking soda and vinegar creates a brief foam that lifts the remaining residue. That's it. No fumes. Anado, do, an. No chemical burns. No ventilating the kitchen for an hour. Drain odor. Pour half a cup of baking soda directly down the drain, followed by half a cup of white vinegar, followed by boiling water after 10 minutes. The fizzing reaction breaks down the organic buildup lining the inside of the pipe. Inni frichikakait fabarkankrit in jitudena inni aitidakaiti. The actual source of the smell. Commercial drain deodorizers sit on top of the problem and release fragrance. This removes it. Refrigerator, an open container of baking soda placed on a shelf continuously neutralizes food odors. Replace it every 2 months. This is something my mother did without thinking. I stopped doing it for 30 years and wondered why my refrigerator always had that ambient smell that wasn't quite any one thing. Before I go further, I want to tell you about something. When I came back from Japan at 63 and started rebuilding these habits in my own home, relearning what my family had always known, I kagachi akamayam now dasai ko aitowi. I began writing it down. Every method, every surface, every moment where I tested something and it worked better than what I'd been buying for decades. It became a book. I called it One Ingredient, Pikas Chich and Deitai and Deiti Chise and Churaturtidiache. Because that's the truth of it. Most of what I was relearning came down to 1 or 2 ingredients that cost almost nothing and did more than the entire cleaning aisle combined. The chapter on baking soda is the longest in the book, not because I padded it, because I geis gno and chiai. Inaki kosetat adet, because there is genuinely that much to cover. Kitchen, bathroom, laundry, soft furnishings, personal care, even garden uses. All of it tested in my own home. All of it things my grandmother did as a matter of course. It's in the pinned comment below this video. I hear from readers. Diane from the UK wrote to tell me she'd thrown out almost everything under her kitchen sink after reading it and replaced all of it with baking soda and white vinegar. She said her cleaning now takes half the time and costs almost nothing. George from Canada said he read the bathroom chapter and used it on tiles that hadn't looked clean in years. He said he couldn't believe something so simple had worked when nothing else had. Patricia from Australia wrote to say her daughter read it with her, and they spent a Saturday afternoon going through the whole house together, and it was the best afternoon they'd had in a long time. It's there if you need it. Now, the bathroom. Bathroom tiles, grout, and that persistent smell. Grout is where most bathroom cleaning products earn their reputation and where most of them quietly fail over time. The issue with grout is that it's porous. It absorbs moisture, soap residue, and organic material, which creates the conditions for mold and discoloration. Commercial grout cleaners typically work through strong bleaching agents. They remove the staining temporarily and also slowly degrade the grout itself over repeated use. You clean the grout, it looks better, and then it stains again faster because the surface has been chemically roughened. Baking soda paste applied to grout lines, worked in with an old toothbrush, left for 15 minutes, and rinsed. Cleans effectively without damaging the grout structure. For mold, mix baking soda with a small amount of water and a few drops of tea tree oil. Apply, leave for 20 minutes, scrub gently. The baking soda lifts the surface mold. The tea tree oil, naturally antifungal, addresses the underlying spores. For bathroom odors, the source is almost always bacterial residue in the toilet, drain, or behind the toilet, where cleaning rarely reaches. Baking soda in the toilet bowl, left for 30 minutes, then scrubbed and flushed, removes bacterial buildup. Behind the toilet, wipe surfaces with a damp cloth dipped in dry baking soda. No spray required. And no fumes in an enclosed space. Sink and tap residue. Baking soda paste on a cloth. Rub, rinse, done. The lime scale and soap scum that make taps look dull respond to the mild abrasive action in under a minute. My taps have looked better since I stopped using the specialty tap cleaner I was buying. Soft furnishings, mattress, carpet, upholstery. This is where baking soda's odor-neutralizing power becomes most obvious and where the commercial alternatives are most aggressively priced. Mattress. Strip the bed. Sprinkle baking soda across the entire mattress surface. Leave it for at least 2 hours. More longer if you can manage it. Vacuum thoroughly. The baking soda has absorbed moisture, body oils, and odor compounds that accumulate in mattress fabric over time. Do this every few months. The difference in how the mattress smells is immediate and significant. Carpet odors, same principle. Sprinkle, leave for 30 minutes minimum. Vacuum. For specific stains, make a paste, apply to the stain while still damp if possible. Let it dry completely, then vacuum. The baking soda draws the stain compound upward as it dries. This works on food, wine, pet accidents, anything organic. Upholstered furniture, a light sprinkle across cushions, left for an hour, then vacuumed, removes the accumulated odor that builds up in fabric over months of use. Commercial upholstery sprays mask this with fragrance. The smell returns within days. Baking soda removes it at the source. I have a sofa I've had for 12 years. It smells clean. Not perfumed, clean. The difference I realized when I started doing this is that I had been covering odors for years, and now I was actually eliminating them. The washing machine and dishwasher. Here is something the appliance industry would prefer you didn't know. The cleaning tablets and specialty products sold for washing machine maintenance are largely unnecessary. A cup of baking soda run through an empty hot cycle cleans the drum, dissolves residue buildup, and neutralizes the odor-causing bacteria that accumulate in the machine's interior, particularly the rubber seal, which is almost always where washing machine smell originates. Do this once a month. For the seal itself, wipe it directly with baking soda paste. Leave it for 15 minutes. Wipe clean. Dishwasher. Sprinkle baking soda across the bottom of an empty dishwasher. Run a short, hot cycle. Removes grease buildup and odors from the interior without leaving chemical residue on surfaces that will later be in contact with your dishes. The specialty tablets for both these appliances cost significantly more than a box of baking soda and perform the same basic chemical function. The active ingredient doing the actual work is, in almost every case, a form of carbonate compound. They've taken what is essentially baking soda, processed it, packaged it attractively, named it something technical, and charged you 5 to 10 times the equivalent cost. Personal care, where it gets even more personal. I want to say something carefully here because this is where I have to speak from direct experience rather than general principle. After 60, I started noticing that some of the products I'd used for years, certain face washes, certain deodorants, were either irritating my skin or simply not working as well as I remembered. A dermatologist friend suggested I was probably using too many products with too many active compounds layered on top of each other. I tried replacing commercial deodorant with baking soda, a small amount mixed with coconut oil applied like a paste. I will be honest, it takes a week or two for your body to adjust. But after that adjustment period, it works. It works not by blocking sweat, but by neutralizing the bacterial activity that creates odor. The commercial deodorant industry sells you fragrance and chemical blockage. Baking soda addresses the actual chemistry of why bodies smell. For teeth, a small amount of baking soda on a wet toothbrush, used once or twice a week as a supplement to regular toothpaste, polishes and whitens enamel gently. The abrasive action is mild enough not to damage enamel and effective enough to remove the surface staining that accumulates from coffee and tea. The whitening strips and specialty toothpastes that promise the same result cost considerably more and work through the same basic abrasion principle, packaged with stronger marketing. What this really costs them. The household cleaning products industry depends on one belief that different problems require different products, each purchased separately, each with its own branded solution, each needing regular replacement. Baking soda breaks that model entirely. One ingredient, multiple surfaces, infinite applications, cannot be patented, cannot be made proprietary, cannot be turned into a subscription, cannot justify a premium price point no matter how sophisticated the packaging. This is why you have never seen a major advertising campaign for baking soda. This is why the cleaning aisle gets longer and more complicated every year, adding new categories, new specialized solutions, new problems you didn't know you had. The complexity is the product. The confusion is what they're selling. My grandmother was never confused. Her cleaning cupboard had 3 things in it: baking soda, white vinegar, and a bar of plain soap. Her home was cleaner than any home I kept for the 40 years I spent buying everything the aisle told me I needed. I want to close with something honest. When I finally came back to these simple methods in my 60s, after decades of overcomplicating everything, age awahan sao. Akauhai ariwi hi adaverkaitai, I felt something that surprised me. Not just satisfaction that they worked, something closer to embarrassment, that I had spent so much, that I had made things so difficult, that the knowledge had been sitting in my childhood the entire time, waiting patiently for me to stop being distracted by packaging. But that embarrassment passed, and what's left is something much more useful. The certainty that simpler is almost always better, that the most effective solutions are usually the oldest ones, and that the cleaning industry's entire business model depends on you never remembering that. 1 box of baking soda, under €1, your entire home. That's not a trick. That's just what your grandmother knew. 1 ingredient is in the pinned comment below. Every surface, every method, everything I tested and use myself. And I'll see you in the next video.